listening to Fresh Take.
You are listening to the Fresh Take Network.
What it do? Welcome to Fresh Take. Joshua Adam William Arthnaut with Adam Diesel Power.
Yo.
And talented, the sexy, dangerous. Yes, it is 2023, second day in, and the talented, the sexy, dangerous, the Devaneer, the anticipating Stefan Seal.
I'm stuck in the past. I like 2022 more so far.
Yeah.
So far.
All right. So
far, 2 days in.
Yeah.
We head into one of my favorite pods of the year, which is the most anticipated pod. This year is it's a lot to lean on coming up this year. This is when all the hopes are there. This time last year, I thought Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange would be great. I thought Jurassic World Dominion, which I did not shit on enough in Worst of. I was like, man, I did not shit on that enough. I thought that would at least be fun. We're all just a lot more happier right now where everything's going to lay. And yeah, and will I keep my streak of at least two things on my list not being released in the year?
Probably,
yeah. Because I
Do you
had
have
three
access
things
to
last
the list
year.
from last year?
Did
Did you write them all down? I'm just curious.
Do not
I think
know.
God of War was probably my most hyped.
I think
God
it was,
of War. I only
yeah.
have mine. I only wrote mine down. I can tell you what mine was.
I probably have them somewhere.
Mine was Sonic 2, The Crown, Season 4, Doctor Strange, Love and Thunder, Lego, Skywalker, Sega, Winning Time, The Lakers Show, Atlanta, Last of Us, Obi-Wan, Spider-Verse. And I'm
Okay, not
struggling
bad
with
though.
two of these returning again this year, or do I just say, hey, they had their return, but we may have some returning ones on here again this year.
Probably we got to have a rule about being able to roll things over. Like if they delay it, you can't be more anticipated for the next year.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with specifically my number one because it's probably my number one again.
Yeah, well, anyone who knows you, it's your number one for sure.
My number one is not that. My number one, I have debated, but I know what my number one is.
Okay.
Yeah, my number one is done.
There's a lot to choose from. I thought you were like making, I thought you were going to push me to my limits and I was just going to have to make shit up.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to get to about 15. And I've cut a few that, and I've added a few that I think I may not be excited for, but culture as a whole, I could see it being a really big deal.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's stuff on here, like, I mean, we'll talk about anticipated, like, honorable mention after, but there's just a lot. I mean, this year is really the first ramped up. COVID is leaning away as far as getting people out, right? COVID's still going on, absolutely. But this is the first year where it's like, hey, like people are going to start going out again. Projects are going to start happening again. And of course, today I can't get into my letterbox, so that's just fantastic.
Letterbox is dead.
Have you been having trouble getting
into it?
Have you had trouble
the
getting into it
Gremlins got
today?
into it. Yeah, the Gremlins get into it every once in a while, and then it goes down.
Okay, so it's not just me. I'm like, of course, of all the days I need to get into Letterbox, today is the day I can't get into it.
Yeah.
I
found my list from last year. It was God of War, Better Call Saul,
okay.
God of War. We own this city. All the stuff that
ended up on my list. You did. Nice.
Yeah, it was number 3. Only one thing I didn't actually get to see.
Which was
The Northman. I never got to see The Northman.
Which that seems to have a nice little rallying cry to it.
It's weird. It seems like it didn't do well, but it's making another little like push on streaming.
Yeah, underrated, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Who wants to start us off?
Well, how many are we doing? You gotta give us the
10.
ground rules first.
We're doing 10.
Yeah, what's the rules?
It's 10.
10 movies, TV, video games.
Yeah.
Coming out in 2023.
If we were better citizens, we'd have books on there as well.
I mean, I do technically have a book in my honorable mention. I have a book in my honorable mention.
Whoa, okay. Look at you, Mr. Professor.
Well, I think it's the most anticipated book in probably the last 5 years.
Oh my goodness! Is it like a
It's
sequel to Hunger Games?
The sequel to the Bible?
It's the Harry biography.
Why not? Okay, so I think it sounds like you just got us started. Is that your number
Harry
10?
who?
No,
Harry
Prince
Styles?
Harry. No, that's honorable mention.
Oh,
Oh, well,
Yeah.
who's
okay.
Harry? Harry
Yeah.
and the Hendersons?
No. Adam, I'll let you start us off.
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
I started with something pretty basic that is coming out in like a week, I think,
Okay.
a week or two. And
Okay.
it's the Netflix series Copenhagen Cowboy.
Okay. Tell us about it.
It's by Nicholas Winding Refn,
Mm.
who hasn't done anything for a while. I actually never saw his Miles Teller show that he did, but he hasn't done a film in like since Neon Demon maybe was his last
Right.
one. He's the guy that did Drive, Only God Forgives, Valhalla
Yeah.
Rising, all that stuff. He's a really visual director, pretty interesting. So he's on the Netflix teat at this point and
Nice.
making a new limited series. I think it's in English and actually no, it's not because it's called Copenhagen Cowboy. I'm pretty sure it's in Danish. And yeah, it comes out like this week or next week. So it should be pretty exciting. I'm looking
Nice.
forward to it.
Dev?
Great choice. Number 10, I am going to say Masters of the Air.
Oh, okay. What's this about?
It's an Apple TV show about like a bomber squad from World War II.
Oh, nice.
But it's got like Barry Keoghan in it, and I literally just saw a picture of it like 10 minutes ago when I was looking up TV shows coming out, and I wanted to do something that wasn't necessarily season 4 of whatever. So cautiously optimistic for Masters of the Air. I'll get you a couple more. Austin Butler's in it. Callum Turner's in it.
Wow.
Yeah, Barry Keoghan, as I
Isn't
mentioned
it
before.
isn't it the True Detective guy?
I don't
Isn't
think
that
so.
Funkanawa or whatever?
It's directed by
Funkanaga.
Fukunaga. Yeah,
Is
at least
didn't
one
he
of the
do?
episodes.
Isn't that what he did? True Detective? Isn't that what he's famous for?
Yes.
Why do I know his name? That's why.
No, he's the director of the first season.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they did
Creator.
No Time. He did No Time to Die as well, which we'll talk. We talked about that enough in the past.
So pretty big name.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm down for like a show that's about that could be like the band of brothers for a bomber squadron.
Nice. Number 10, I cheated. I always do this with my 10. I kind of double down. I picked two Marvel shows that I couldn't jump ahead on. I picked Loki / Secret Invasion. Loki, which has been the best Marvel series of everything we've had, and then Secret Invasion, which is a top 2 favorite comic of all time period for me. And it looks to be, I mean, the cast on it is great. You got someone like Olivia Colman on it, who's terrific on almost everything she does. Emilia Clarke's part of it. Obviously, Sam Jackson's part of it. A few other super talented actors. We don't have we've had trailers. We don't know exactly what date it's going to be out, but we know it's going to be out this year. So super excited for that. And then Loki season 2, like I was saying, by far the best Loki we've had this year. And Marvel is going to be a very cosmic year more than ever with, having Ant-Man, having Guardians, having the Marvels, and Loki's kind of stuck in the middle of all of that. Probably come out in the summertime as well when Guardians is coming out. So really excited to have that. And hopefully these shows don't lower expectations where everything with Marvel goes. It was hard to pick Marvel stuff this year just because of where expectations have gone for Marvel in the past. So that's why they were at number 10 this year.
Loki would probably be my 9th pick, so I would agree with you on that.
Nice. Devin, we'll go to you for number 9.
Well, I was just gonna mention Loki, but I would say all the things that you have to say.
Perfect segue.
So Loki was number 9
like
for you?
Yeah, Loki's number 9 for me.
Yeah. So if someone has something, if it's higher, just be like, I have that higher. So then we'll just talk about it when it gets to that point for that person. All right. So Devin has Loki
higher.
Adam, you go.
I went with a bit more of an obscure movie for my first movie here. It's called Infinity Pool, and it's another one that comes out in weeks.
Nice.
It's by Canadian director Brandon Cronenberg, who's David Cronenberg's son. He did Antiviral, he did Possessor. Infinity Pool's been kind of floating for the last year. We thought we would have it at SIFF. It just kept getting delayed, and it just got into Sundance. So it's premiering at Sundance later this month, and then it's out like that week. Like they're just dropping it right away. Sometimes Sundance stuff floats for like a year, but they're dropping it. And he like tries to not be his dad, doing like the body horror sci-fi stuff, but he always does. And I'm pretty excited. I've been kind of avoiding reading what this is about. But I know it is rated R in Canada, so it should be pretty wild stuff.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to that. Some
My
CanCon on the list.
My number 9. God damn it, I'm sucked in. One more time. I'm going with Indiana Jones. I know I'm going to regret it, but I'm sucked
You're not
back
going to
in.
regret it. No.
I saw the trailer and it made me feel like how I was when I was a kid and we were like 5-6 years old and having these big blanket forts and pizza nights with our family, watching Indiana Jones and renting it. And hopefully this isn't what Crystal Skull was, where I felt like I was an insane patient, where I was like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You know, the elevator, the refrigerator thing was kind of stupid. The monkey things were kind of stupid, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It took me like, I think I was in like Stockholm syndrome for like 6 months during Crystal Skull. James Mangold's part of this. He has a pretty good track record. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is part of it. I think she did some of the script. She has a pretty good track record. So there's people that I trust with products that are part of this. Mads Mikkelsen is part of this. Harrison, who this is going to be the year of Harrison Ford. He's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna die anytime. I'm fucking doing everything. I'm gonna do 1923. I'm gonna be in a Marvel show. I'm gonna do this Apple show with Jason Segel, and I'm gonna do Indiana Jones again. I'm fucking doing everything.
Maybe he's like, he needs some rent money.
Maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Indy at 9. I debated keeping it off. I went between 2 films here, and the Disney side of things. I went between this and Guardians 3, which I'm really excited for Guardians 3. It just missed out. But Indy has a special place in my heart, and I'm excited to see it and hoping that it doesn't let us down.
Indy was on my honorable mentions list.
Nice.
I will say this is the
yeah.
worst thing that could happen to Indiana Jones 5 is the fact that it's okay.
That's the best thing that could
happen. No, I like in reality, like we should have. I know the track record for the last one wasn't great, but you would think with how referential the film series is, Disney would want to really, really, really make sure everything's pristine for the show, right? So I think we can have assume a little bit of positive intent with this kind of property. I know I've said that before and we've been burned. But we have every indication that Disney did everything right with this particular movie. So, you know, it's okay to be high on it. I just think that if it's like a 6 out of 10 and everyone just kind of forgets about it in a couple of years, that's the worst thing to happen to the series.
Well, traditionally with the indie movies, it's every other one, right? Like obviously Last Crusade, people would consider Raiders is the best one. Temple of Doom I like, but I know there's people that aren't Temple of Doom fans, but I enjoy Kali Ma and the whole short round and everything with Temple of Doom. I enjoy it. Last Crusade, most people consider that the second best one, and then Crystal Skull's dog shit. So by the math, you would say this is going to be good. The odd ones are good.
So
we'll see.
Okay. I'm with Dev on this. Like they'll throw enough money at it so that it's like at least passable.
Yeah.
At least better than Crystal Skull, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna let this fail. They're not gonna let it just like flop around and die. So it'll be okay at worst.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Number 8. This is where I went into gaming. I went to the new Fallen Order game, which is going to be the game that makes me get a PlayStation 5. The first one was so like it had no right to be as good as it was, and I don't think even Devan and I talking about it thought it would be as fun as it has, and it had such an anticipated release now, getting the showcase it got at the Gaming Awards. Cal Kestis was getting thought about in that ending of Mando. That's how beloved the character has gotten now. We saw like a level of his droid in Boba Fett the Mando episode. That droid is so beloved now, and he's one of the top droids that people love. And people are wondering if Star Killer's in this. The rumors and the thoughts for everything and the lore that this could add to Star Wars is fantastic. Some might say this is the most anticipated Star Wars property getting released this year. That's how excited I think people are for Fallen Order. It's not my most anticipated Star Wars release. I have one more on here. But Fallen Order, I'm very, very excited for. So that's number 8 for me.
I have that as number 8 as well.
Number 8 as well. Okay. Anything you want
Tie.
to add? I think you hit the nail on the head when you called it like it should not have been as good as it was, especially given the launch of some of these recent Star Wars properties and video gaming. Star Wars video games as a whole seems to be pretty
and
rocky.
EA.
But to have it just goes to show how great things can be. AAA single player only experiences. Like the games don't have to be complicated to be well loved, and this game is really simple. It's basically a ripoff of Sekiro or Soulsborne games with a Star Wars skin on it, but it told a really, really great story. And you're right, when it comes to like the characters have kind of become more popular than they deserve to be after one game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't remember all the story beats, but especially you're right, between the droid and between Cal, there's some really cool things
The
that
Night
you
Sister.
could weave. There's some cool things you could weave into this like Star Wars lore, which is funny, which is like better than all the recent movies we've had.
Yeah, this is true. Adam, where are you going for 8?
I went back to a TV show for number 8. And it's one, I think it comes out pretty soon too. Kind of getting ones that are like early in the year, done early. It's The Idol. It's the HBO series. Who I haven't been crazy about Euphoria. I still haven't like dug deep into it, but it's by the same creator as Euphoria.
Okay.
And The Weeknd created
Your
it.
guy.
And it's about like a famous singer who starts a cult around his music, and it's like The Weeknd stars in it with Lily Rose Depp. And it's A24, it's HBO. It should have similar hype to like Euphoria. But I'm more excited for this one than I think Euphoria.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one. So that's going to be pairing in the 15th slot with Last of Us, then I'm guessing.
I think so. I don't know exactly when it comes out, but it's very soon in the year. Yeah.
Nice. Bring us back. Well, let's go to Devan for 7 because it rhymes.
My 7, Last of Us. Most of the year, once it got delayed, I didn't think about it. I didn't care about it. Seeing a couple trailers here and there.
Number 4 for me, by the way.
Yeah. What can we say? Like this is a tentpole franchise that HBO is putting a lot into.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we talked about with indie. I think it's too big to fail. And I'm willing to definitely give it a shot. So it's a franchise that we're both into. So
you have Neil Druckmann behind it, like writing it. I think that whenever you have the game creator part of it, I think that helps. And Druckmann has been such a good writer, whether it be with the Uncharted series or what he's done with Last of Us. He's done a really good job of video game storytelling, despite, I guess I can't spoil it as much now because people are going to be invested in the show. So I don't want to spoil future storylines for the show. It's kind of like when people would read Game of Thrones books and didn't want to know what's coming. But the divisiveness that came out of The Last of Us 2 was because of good writing and good storytelling. And Druckmann really brings that. And then you bring upon the creators from Chernobyl and everything they were able to do with Chernobyl. And kind of like you were saying, Adam, when you have a team like everyone at HBO rarely puts out bad product. It's really hard. And the video game track record is starting to seemingly go up a little bit. I mean, 2 of the best top 10 movies last year. One was meh and forgettable, which was Uncharted, but it made almost $500 million. And then there was Sonic, which was a fun family movie and made a lot of money. So we're starting to see the genre not be the dumpster fire that it used to be. And I think everything they've had around Last of Us, even getting a sense of the trailers and seeing the clickers, seeing the bloaters, getting the atmosphere that Last of Us has had. And I know there was a little bit of a blowback this week because like it's not as violent. I'm like, yeah, but Last of Us was never about the violence. It was about the story that it told. And I've seen some people like, oh, it's just another zombie show. I'm like, but that was also what Last of Us wasn't about. It wasn't as much about the zombies. It wasn't much about survival and the relationships that were part of it, and what that all brought out of everybody.
Well said.
So yeah, that was my number 4. So we can skip my number 4 now.
I just want to mention on this while we're here, because I don't have it on my list, but I'd give it an honorable mention solely for the fact that it was shot here.
Yep.
Which is really cool. And I hope it does well, because that brings more productions to Calgary, brings the second season back to Calgary, hopefully, right? And there's a lot around that. I'm still wary of video games into movies, especially when the video game is pretty perfect storytelling. Like I don't like, the story is great. I played it. I loved it. Do I need to see it and not play it again? I don't know why.
Yeah,
sure. You know what I mean? This is why I'm not crazy about God of War being made into a show.
Yeah,
you described that perfectly for me. Yeah, I felt that same way when it was announced. It felt really needless.
That's like I already see it and interact with it while the story's going through, and now you're going to remove that interaction.
We saw that with Uncharted, right? We saw Uncharted become a soulless advertisement, and just like a watered down version of what Uncharted was. And much like your fears with God of War, it's the fears I have with BioShock getting announced. I just can't. I just have no, unless Guillermo del Toro did it. I have, and Ken Levine was involved. I have zero doubts that BioShock is going to be a good property. And kind of like you talked about with God of War, there's just so many things that could potentially go wrong with having a property like that.
I want God of War to be a Netflix series with like interactive button presses, where it's like you're watching the show and then you have to do the QuickTime event, or it's just like press triangle now.
Oh, I hate QuickTime events. Lazy game making.
Adam, what's your number 7?
Number 7. This is where I went with the twofer.
Okay. I already get it. So.
And I'll clarify the twofer. It's 2 movies, and it seems like they're both coming up this year, which is crazy. But Yorgos Lanthimos, the guy that did The Lobster, The Favorite, Killing of Sacred Deer, he has 2 movies in post-production right now. So odds of them coming out are pretty good. One is called And, I think with Joaquin Phoenix. There's nothing about that, but it's done. It's shot. And then one called Poor Things. Both American films, like English language films. But if you know Yorgos, his like offbeat, like surreal but realistic, like stretches of society are so interesting. That I'm really excited to see some new stuff from him, because it's been a couple years since he's done anything.
And what do we have? Like, do you have an actual date on theirs yet, or they're just in post production?
I think And is the one coming out first, but I don't know. Like I heard more about that last year while they were shooting it. But then
any cast notes?
And has Joaquin Phoenix. Hold on, I'll bring it up. You go to yours, and then I'll jump back to mine.
Number 7 for me is my last we'll see from any Disney property on here, and I went with Star Wars, and I went with the Ahsoka show. Ahsoka's probably my favorite character, as I rep her today on the show. Probably my favorite character. If you were a fan of Rebels, this is going to answer a lot of questions from Rebels. We're going to get Hera. We're going to get the Ghost. We're going to get Little Chopper. He's one of the best droids. And you're going to get a chance to find out what happened to Ezra. We're going to see a live action Thrawn. It all sounds so good that it's probably going to go terribly wrong. But I'm excited.
Go terribly wrong. Like this is like Filoni's this is like one of Filoni's.
I know this is Filoni's house, but I feel like this is like what I felt like for Obi-Wan. It's like, oh, there's this and this and this and this and this. But like you said, I do trust Filoni. This is his world. This is his vision. This sounds like this is his baby. There's no Kathleen Kennedy or anyone else involved in it. This is all Filoni, who we've seen Filoni in the past year for Tales of the Jedi, when Filoni's focused, especially with Ahsoka, like who is his baby, literally, that it's going to work out. The casting so far has all been really, really well done, and just the anticipation of finding out what happened with Ezra and Thrawn for people that watch Rebels at the end there, going to be very exciting. The Thrawn casting, we still don't know, and I almost want them to not tell us who Thrawn is until the show starts. But the way things go, we're going to find out. But that is such a imperative casting for Thrawn, because outside of Vader and Sidious, he may be at least what we've had in the last few years, third, fourth, at the very least top 5 Star Wars villain that we have a chance to have seen or read.
Well, hopefully it's just Lars. They keep it simple. It's Lars Mikkelsen.
That's what I'm hoping for. I hope it's Lars, but we'll see. So that's my number.
That was my honorable mention, although it very well should have been on my list for all the reasons you pointed out.
Yeah, Mando didn't make my list. It was honorable mention because I went between. I couldn't double down twice. I knew, so I went with Ahsoka over Mando, although Mando should be fun. Adam, the casting.
So I feel like they're maybe shooting both of these at the same time.
Okay,
They
that's cool.
both star Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, Emma Stone did
Which is
nothing this in 2022, by the way.
Pretty
so
wild. Yeah,
I
and she
heard
was
that.
in his last film, The Favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and has Jesse Plemons, Margaret Qualley.
Nice.
There's nothing about this one, but there's footage of them shooting it.
I thought you were
And
gonna
then
put
Poor
in...
Things has
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
what?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, Poor Things. Poor Things is there's a little more info about it. About a woman who drowns escaping an abusive husband, and then her
Oh.
brain is replaced by an unborn child by a
Yeah.
crazy scientist. It's Emma Stone. This one's got crazy cast. Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo,
Nice.
Margaret Qualley again,
They
Christopher
knew.
Abbott, Jared Carmichael, Rami Youssef.
Carmichael. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jared Carmichael and Rami. So some like young up and coming comedians. So and if you know Yorgo stuff, it's not full comedy. There's a lot of comedy in it, so it should be pretty interesting. So both of these are something I'm looking at.
Dev, you already had your 7, right?
7 was Last of Us, yeah, but I have
That's
my
okay.
6th. So
Let's go to 6 then for you.
okay, John Wick 4.
Made my honorable mention. I can't believe I left it out.
Until something bad happens, I'm just gonna keep being excited for him.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was like 11, but there's some other stuff I was just like slightly more excited about. But yeah, very excited for this. Yeah, it's gonna. The trailer looks nuts as always. They're always going to continue to push the limit. These movies are almost becoming fast movies at this point.
But I think even just beyond the quality of filmmaking and the gratuitous action, and when you get really cool cameos and stuff, not even cameos, but cool side characters, it's probably one of the most most self-aware franchises we have in Hollywood.
Yeah,
which is really saying something. And I mean like actual franchise. It's what's funny is I think they've done a really good job of trickling this information, not only with the movies, but the world itself at large. I think if John Wick was released by any other studio, we'd be having theme park rides, we'd be having tie-in movie or tie-in short stories, video games, comic books, lunch boxes, breakfast cereals. And in reality, like we've had 3 movies, we're gonna get a TV show eventually.
The Hotel.
So
yeah.
I appreciate the slow burn for this world. It's just fun to go back to every couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Been too long.
Is that maybe why it's still so popular
100%.
amongst people? Because they're kind of keeping it under that level. Because once you blow it up that way, it kind of loses a lot of its charm.
Yeah, I think if this was done by Disney, there'd be a movie every year. There'd be
the origin story show.
It would just water it down.
There'd be the John Wick kid show,
the dog
child or something. Exactly, and it's just like I just want to see 2 hours of movie every couple of years, and you could twist my arm for a short mini series. Perfect.
Yeah,
I would watch a show about the hotel.
That's 100%. That's coming.
Well, isn't Ballerina?
And Ballerina?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good enough.
I'm not a huge fan of the John Wick franchise. It's like I think when it came out, we were in a really big lull for action movies, and then you have a competently made action movie, and then people are like, "Holy crap, this is amazing!" And it's like, no, it's just done pretty well. Like it's just not terrible.
This is the standard of what movies should be like. This isn't hard.
So low, and this was like, oh, action that you can follow, action that you can watch, like action scenes that aren't just blurs. Like a lot of the like middle sort of Avengers stuff, where the action scenes weren't shot super well. But yeah, I don't know. I'll still check it out. I'm not against it, but it's just not like super in my wheelhouse.
What's your six, Adam?
Six is where I went with something pretty big, a movie, and I'm going with Dune Part Two.
That's on my list too.
Not on
Yeah.
my list.
I was pretty excited about the first one coming out, but I was kind of like, I don't know. I was a little hesitant to be super into it. But then when
Yeah.
it did come out, it did really kind of blow me away and be that visual feat that you want, but also like the feel you wanted from a Dune movie, I think, after reading the novel. And it made me want the second one like immediately. So I'm excited still 2 years later to see it.
And it'll be in theaters. So that's going to be
First
interesting
one
to
was in
see.
theaters.
Went right to HBO Max, isn't it?
Nope.
No, it was in
I saw it in
theaters.
theaters.
I
We saw
saw
it
it.
in IMAX.
I saw it in IMAX.
Yeah.
It did both. That's what I mean. It did both. It did
Yeah.
the double.
Yeah.
So this will be just by itself. Dev, where did you have that?
I had Dune at 5.
Okay.
The thing that I'll say about Dune 1 is, and I've read the novel as well, is I think Dune 1 walked so that Dune 2 could run.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like how the book feels as well. It's almost Lord of the Rings-esque, where it takes so long to kind of learn the language, learn the speech patterns, who's talking, that Frank Herbert's writing. And by the time you get to the second half of the novel, which is quite literally like a second half, you're just like fucking guns ablazing. Not literally, of course, but
It flies by a lot
there's
faster.
a lot of great novel, and there's going to be a lot of great movie to show in the second half for sure. If you were interested in if you made it through the first one at all.
And you're adding Austin Butler, who, to my chagrin and probably a lot, has a chance to come off a Golden Globe and potential Oscar win, because that seems like there is minor buzz bubbling now for Butler. He's doing all the right things. You have Florence Pugh, who was the best thing about Don't Worry, Darling, because there wasn't much good about that. And then you also have Christopher Walken joining it. So 3 pretty big actors joining the project, and one specifically in Austin Butler that is going to be red hot at that point and really go into that summer looking to be showcased as the next guy that we can really showcase off.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can also argue they're adding Zendaya because
yeah,
she wasn't really in the first one.
This is true. My number 6, let's go. I'm going with the Mario movie. I am super hyped about this. That trailer made me feel things I haven't felt in a long time from a trailer. I actually am mad that I didn't put that as trailer of the year, because it should have been trailer of
That's
the
what
year.
I was thinking when you were doing trailer of the year. I was waiting for the Mario drop.
I did not do as much research as I should have this year. I there's a lot of regrets I have on the best and the worst of this year. I need to do better next year. But Mario, the trailer looks super fun. The Chris Pratt stuff is what it is, but everything else looks super fun. Illumination doesn't really miss. They're a pretty good animation studio. They have Nintendo working with them with everything, and everything I've seen from the trailer gets me super excited about it. The really cool thing for me is my nieces and nephews are getting to the age now I can take them to a movie theater, and they're starting to slowly play Mario Kart and some of the scrolling Mario games. My niece is super excited. We just found out today there was Mario toys at McDonald's, and she got a peach today, and she was super excited for that. And she just found out who Donkey Kong was today for the first time. She had no idea who Donkey Kong was. So just the anticipation
It's a
of that,
life-changing event.
Yeah, just the anticipation of that, and it's going to bring families together. This is a 30-year plus thing in the making for a lot of people, and I think, as Devin and I said, like this, I'm gonna ask this at the end about box office and whatnot, but this is a potential box office winner of the year with what Mario could do this year. We'll talk about predictions at the end of the pod, but this is a chance to really not just win the summer box office, but the summer in total. It kind of goes hand in hand too with later this month in Universal Studios California, the Mario World Park will open, and then there's anticipation for another Scrawler or an Odyssey level announcement for Mario this year. It's going to be a big Mario year, and they're going to try to do everything they can to jump off this. So I got Mario at number 6.
Honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
Not on my list, but I like everything you said.
Number 5, this was the hardest one to go back and forth on, because this is the one I'm worried about getting burnt on about if it comes out or not this year, because you're finding positive stuff like they have shot the finale, but they're working backwards. So I'm going out on a limb, and that's why it's a little bit lower. If I had more concrete evidence that it was coming out this year, I would go with it. All signs point to it, but I've had that problem with when I picked Last of Us last year. I'm going number 5 is Ted Lasso, which could be having it's presumed to have its conclusion of this year. It's gone back to back on winning awards. You would wonder if they try to sneak it in before May to try to get the back to back to back this year. Probably my first or second favorite show on television this year. I enjoy the pods that we've done with Devan. You've seen everyone from this has really grown to bigger careers at this point. It's almost an Atlanta situation in some ways, where it's just like, even if there is another season, it's going to be so hard because everyone from Brett to Juno to everybody on that show is starting to get other careers and get other big stuff. I mean, Brett's in a Marvel movie. He's going to be in Marvel, will be Hercules at this point, right? Juno starting to do a lot of stuff. She's been out here in Calgary shooting Fargo, and I'm sure she's going to get a lot of accolades of that. Fargo, by the way, was honorable mention. Having Juno, having John Hamm, really excited for that season of Fargo. That was honorable mention for me, but really excited to have Ted Lasso back, potentially. Everything, like I said, seems like it's coming out this year, but not 100%.
Do you say conclusion? Is this supposed to be the last
It's
one?
supposed to be the last year, yeah.
Yeah. That's Lasso's my 2, just for the
Last was a 2, yeah.
Overall consistency of the product.
Yeah. Who did you have at 5, Dev? Oh, you had Dune, right?
At 5, I had Dune.
Okay, Adam, you got 5 because I can skip 4 because I had Last of Us.
5 is where I went to video games for the first time.
Nice.
And this is where I'm going with a AEW game, Fight for the Fallen.
Damn it! Yeah,
Fight for Fallen?
That was honorable mention. Yeah, Fight for the Fallen.
What's it called? Fight for the Fallen.
Fight Forever.
It's just a Fight Forever. No.
Yeah.
Fight Forever.
Fight Forever. Yeah. Fight Forever.
Fight Forever. Whatever it's called. I think still they don't have a date for it, but they're pre-selling it at GameStop and stuff right now. It was
February, but then the Punk stuff happened.
It's sometime in 2023, and it's what's set to be like a huge throwback to old wrestling games of the past that everyone loved growing up, the N64 games, that kind of stuff. And as long as it has like create a wrestler mode where you can get some of those WWE guys in there, and like you can have a lot of fun with this game. So I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, it just missed out for me. Honorable mention, but first game I believe in 20 years with Owen Hart in it, which is really exciting. I know that's what got Jermaine super excited for it, even though he's preying on AEW's downfall and has bet with us about AEW's downfall. Cody Rhodes sustaining the game as a legacy character, so that's really cool. And we'll find out if CM Punk is in the game or not. It sounds like he's still in the game, but I don't know for sure. And I
think he'll be in the game, but he might be off all the promo material.
Yeah, and we have there's mini games in this as well. Like you talked about too, that throwback Adam to that No Mercy WCW World Tour N64 level of game. The graphics I could give 2 shits about is the gameplay, which the 2K series has really, really lacked. And it seems they're back with Ukes, who was part of doing the No Mercy and the WrestleMania side of things. So yeah, very excited for that. And I'm almost mad I didn't put it on my list now. You got me more excited for it.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. So we go to number 4. I'm gonna skip because I had Last of Us. So Dev, you're number 4.
Mando season 3.
Mando, yeah, honorable mention for me, but go ahead.
Just
this is the way.
It's not yeah, I guess so. I'm more so interested with this is all hopefully because we have no idea what's going to go on, but I want them to actually go deeper and explore Mandalorian culture, the takeover, flashbacks to Night of a Thousand Tears. There's considering like the Boba Fett character has been a Star Wars staple for like almost 50 years. We know very, very, very little about not only him, the show notwithstanding, but just everything about Mandalorians in general. the show can do that for us. And when Mandalorian's really clicking, it's must see TV. So it's pretty high on the list just because I want to see all the other Mandalorians. I want to see what happens. I want them to go to Mandalore. I don't care about any of the one-time cameos. I don't care about celebrity faces on my screen for 5 seconds. I just want to see them fuck shit up, really.
Yep. We get to see Grogu and his little chain link and his little lightsaber.
Exactly. Hey, don't spoil it for people, but yeah, basically.
And
I
then
remember hearing there were rumors that they were going to get rid of Grogu, right?
well,
Or like
he
bump
went
him
to
out,
Luke.
and then
He went to Luke at the academy, and Luke made him have a choice between training longer or going to see Mando, who's his
yeah.
dad.
No, I've seen it, but I can't remember if it was the second season, third season, where there were all these rumors that like it was going to be like a Grogu-less season or something. And I was like, is that really? Would that lose a lot of people? I feel like it might.
Maybe.
So
I wanted him to stay with Luke personally. I was kind of with Devan. I was like, I'm cool if Grogu just kind of stays with Luke and is kind of as awesome as Grogu is, and I love him. If he kind of detached a little bit and we got more of the lore of Mandalore, and I mean, we have the whole thing, the storyline this year is he's removed his helmet and he has to do the whole ceremony and prove himself as a true Mandalorian again because he's taken his mask off. So to get into that side of the Mandalore culture, to have Katie Sackhoff back in this, maybe Mercedes Monet. I'm not sure if she'll be back or not this year. For you, Devan,
we'll find out in a couple days. I guess
that's the previously known Sasha Banks. Her name is now either Mercedes Monet or Monet Banks. We'll find out in 2 days here. So I don't want to. There could be either one of those. So we'll find out. I guess the Costa Reeves character's back, but yeah, Mando should be exciting. Just again, this year is so packed, but it made my honorable mention.
Cool.
Adam, you're 4.
My number 4 is a movie, and one that should have no right being on anyone's list. But it's the Barbie movie.
Yeah, I'm glad
nice.
somebody did it. I'm glad somebody did it.
Somebody has to.
Yeah.
Like when they said they were making a Barbie movie, it was like, who cares? Why? Sell toys. But it's not even to sell toys at this point.
It's the material side of it. They're showcasing.
It's directed by Greta Gerwig. It's written by her and her husband, Noah Baumbach, who are known for like their indie, like romance, like really introspective films.
Well, after White Noise,
and then giving them
shit.
But then giving them this Barbie movie is like seems perfect and insane, and it's totally like the like anti-film bro culture kind of like rearing its head and getting its movie, and that trailer is perfect to kind of fight that, kind of poking fun at Stanley Kubrick, poking fun at 2001. But then it's like, okay, yeah, it's a joke, right? It's a one big joke, and then Margot Robbie as the monolith Barbie doll. But then they show like the clips, just the quick cut of all the clips of Barbie, and it's just like this looks insane. It's like a West Side Story musical,
La La Land,
on acid, like Speed Racer kind of thing. Like I'm into it, so I'm interested.
You know what's interesting about that too, Adam, is it's a big movie for Margot Robbie because it was a shitty 2022 for her. You know, Babylon bombed, and she was part of that as a production company and putting that along. That bombed. Amsterdam bombed. So this is a big movie for her to showcase if she has what it takes to be a leading part of a film or not. I think the Barbie name is going to be a big part of it. But if you talked about actors that were part of big bombs last year, Margot was a big part of a lot of bombs last year. Babylon may be the biggest one that we saw.
Mm-hmm. But those are like big, what do you call it? Where you have a whole bunch of people, like ensemble casts, right? Those are big ensemble cast movie. Yes, she's kind of the star, but not really. Like it's so many people. Even this, like obviously she's like the titular character, but
you got
there's
Gosling,
so many people in this. Yeah, there's so many people. The guy from Sex Education, I forget his name, the Doctor Who guy. But yeah, and it's going to be really interesting at the box office because it's that July 21st, I want to say,
goes with Oppenheimer.
The same day as Oppenheimer, and you're going to have your like incel women hating film bros being like, fuck this Barbie movie. I'm gonna make sure Oppenheimer wins. And then you're gonna have but you're gonna have those people, especially on the internet. You're gonna have those people, and you're gonna have those people going in droves to theaters, and then you're gonna have the Barbie people. Like, I think there might be some hate crimes at the theaters. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
But if violence aside, it's like it's gonna boost box office, and it really should boost box office. And it all comes down to if they can get as many cinemas as they want for both of those movies. I think it'll be like a pretty massive box office weekend or a couple weeks summer. At least.
Okay. Dev, did you do your 4? That was Mando?
4 was Mando, yeah.
Okay, number 3 for me, it's like I said, Ted Lasso's 1 or 2. This is when I think about a show, this just makes me smile, and it's probably my favorite show, and it's The Return of Succession, season 4.
God, that's on my list.
What number?
Number 1, baby.
Yeah, I debated number 1.
Yeah,
man, I had this at 1.
I still can't.
1 to 3, kept going back and forth. Holy shit! I'm so excited to watch this show. I'm so excited to talk about this show, and I'm so excited to pod about this show. You go back and look at the best of last year between Devin and I, it was all Succession. Outside of White Lotus, I think this is the water cooler show, if that still exists anymore. Like, this is the show that I have found myself talking with other people about. White Lotus this season kind of blew that up to a level that I hadn't seen, but the prior season of Succession seemed like that. Like, my nan, my British grandmother, she's obsessed with it. She'll call me asking me questions about it. Sister, friends, Succession is just at the top of it. It's Arrested Development, but more mature, I guess is the best way you could put it, Dev.
Something like that. You know, there's just so many things about the show. I just happened to watch, like, the other day, I just watched like a 5-second clip of literally one random scene. I don't even know what season it was. And it's the little quips that you won't get on the first watch that really seal this as a quality show for me. And I really, really mean to rewatch it. And the lawyer guy, Frank.
Yeah.
So they're talking about some kind of buying out of a company or whatever like that. And he's like, and Kendall's like what? Like, Frank's like, yeah, it's a stupid number. Like, it's just ridiculously high. And Kendall's like, well, what's the number? And Frank's like, I don't know, a badillion. Like, it's such a throwaway line. That seals to me the quality of the show. We're really intrigued with the characters.
Never forget the dick pic. The best scene of television I've seen in 5 years.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Going down the chair. What are you, some sicko?
There's quotes from the show. There's big scenes. There's little scenes. There's favorite characters. There's people you hate. Like, it has everything that you could want from a TV show. It pulls you in all these different kind of directions. And
the Godfather really ending in the last season too. There was a lot of Godfather themes to that last season with Tom.
And there's so many threads. There's so many threads that have not been resolved yet that could blow up in anyone's faces at any point in time. That just linger there that we all know about, but the characters don't. So I just want to just give me more of it all the time.
Adam, what's your 3?
Not Succession. I still haven't gotten into this. I watched like 3 episodes and it doesn't move me.
It takes 6.
It takes 6.
No,
you told me it took 3.
It's like 4. It's like 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
It's 4 or 5.
Okay. Once you get to
6,
Thanksgiving,
by 6 you're rolling.
Thanksgiving, I think, is the episode, right, Dev? Once you get to Thanksgiving,
I think that was the one where they go out and they play the baseball game.
No, they have like a Thanksgiving dinner, and that kind of starts getting things rolling a little bit. But I was the same way. It took me like 2 or 3 times in Succession, and once I was in, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by 6 you're like way into it.
Yeah. We're at your number 3.
Cool. Number 3 is my last movie on the list. So maybe I can quickly just talk about some other movies that I don't think anyone that I had like as honorable mentions.
We'll do honorable mentions after.
Okay, we'll do them at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 3 is back to the A24 well. And it's going to be the Iron Claw.
Oh, okay.
And it is the wrestling film starring Zac Efron and MJF about the Von Erich family, which is like the Southern Hart family from Texas. It's directed by Sean Durkin. who did like Martha, Marcy, May, Magdalene, which really put what's her name, Elizabeth Olsen on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And now he's taking on this like maybe the wrestler, but like real kind of situation potentially is what we're getting with this film. Zac Efron is not my favorite actor, but he looks pretty great in this. And I think he could do it well. And I'm just excited to see a new wrestling property that seems like fun and interesting and
fun. If you know the story about the Von Erichs, Dev, it's pretty much the Kennedys of wrestling. It's the Kennedys of wrestling.
Yeah. But there will be a lot of fun in it. It'll be dark for sure. But I'm just excited to see something on like this level, this much money thrown into it, I think. So it should be cool.
The film debut of MJF. Dev, what's your number 3?
Number 3, and I think Adam will jump on my wagon for this one. It's Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. I'm just gonna keep putting on the list until it comes out.
It's my number 2.
It's the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio Future, soundtrack by Hideki Nakaguma. I just want
it's
it so
supposed to come
bad.
out this year, isn't it?
It's supposed to be summer. It's supposed to be summer. I just want to skate around on rails. I want to paint graffiti. I want to listen to some really, really cool, like Japanese DJ electronic music.
Didn't they say you can rollerblade, skateboard, and bike?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be good.
My number 2. I can't wait.
And I understand this is like such a deep cut original Xbox fandom nostalgia pick from like 14-year-old Devin, but
Dreamcast, Sega Dreamcast.
Jet Set Radio was Dreamcast. Jet Set Radio Future was Xbox. I'm not saying that this should be necessarily like a franchise, or it should have been a franchise, or that Sega like did this franchise dirty, but it's just totally a nostalgia pick.
It needs a next gen update for sure, and that's what hopefully we're getting. Right,
Jet Set Radio Future. I would love a next gen update for that. I don't know.
There's signs at AEW, by the way, Dev. There's been signs at AEW saying remake Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Well, they did
coming.
They did a remake of Jet Set Radio for the Xbox, which was really cool, and I do have that copy, and I've played it before. Nice. Although it hasn't aged very well, but Jet Set Radio Future I would just cream myself.
Excellent. I guess I'll just go to number 2 for me. Spider-Verse is number 2. It's going to be a big year for Lord and Miller this year, and everything we saw from the trailer, all the Spider-Man that we got to see, including Superior Spider-Man, which maybe outside of the '94 Spider-Man show, even maybe more than that, one of my favorite Spider-Man. It's just going to be absolutely banana. It's crazy what we're going to get.
Bananas.
Banana.
Banana.
Banana. Yep. That's R.I.P. Pat Patterson. The trailer just looked nuts. I mean, the first Spider-Verse was potentially, it won an Oscar for Best Animated. It could have won for Best Picture that year. That's how good that film is. The animation this year too, there are just so many different tones of all the different spider people that we're getting in it, and you just trust Lord and Miller with the storytelling that they're going to go with. This was supposed to come out last year. They bumped it to potentially put more spider people into it, so it's going to be nuts. And I mean, the soundtrack was one of the best soundtracks for movies we've gotten in a long time, so I'm excited for the soundtrack as part of it as well. So it's my number 2.
Awesome.
I have one unfortunate downside for you, Josh, that you might not be aware of. Nike and Jordan are releasing another Spider-Man Jordan 1 like they did for the last Spider-Verse movie, and it looks terrible.
Oh no.
Really?
It looks awful.
The first ones were cool.
The first ones were cool. These ones are too much. It's like it's like every panel is like slightly different material, and I get what they're trying to do with all the different animation styles, but it's like you can't just be like take the movie and just pluck it out and put it on a shoe. That's what they did, and it's just bad. You can find it, but the movie's gonna be cool.
We know Adam's number 2. Devin, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Lasso.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we go to number 1s. Adam, why don't you go to number 1 first?
Me first.
No, Devin's number 1 is Succession.
All right. I would be remiss if I don't mention the Safdie Bros.
Yeah, of course. Is this the Sandler movie?
And they can't do the Sandler movie. They're not shooting that till like the summer.
Okay.
I don't think it'll come out till 2024. But that sounds crazy. Like basically Uncut Gems set in the world of high stakes trading cards. So that'll be amazing. But no, this is something that's actually going to come out this year. It's a Showtime television show called The Curse, and it's the Safdie Bros directing, producing, starring Benny, starring Emma Stone, and written and starring Nathan Fielder.
I was gonna
Whoa.
say,
So
I figured you'd have this because that thing at the Mets game happened, and everybody thought that they were doing something at that Mets game because they were all there.
I didn't even.
Oh, you
I
didn't
didn't
know
hear
about
about
this? So
this.
they had that thing
No.
at the Mets and Phillies game, I believe, where they started showing all of them on the Titantron, and they showed Fielder on there, and he just like so an impression. Everyone's like, "Oh, he seems like a national," and everyone's like, "Wait a minute, this could be part of this film." Because why is Emma Stone at this baseball game wearing Padres
So
stuff? It's very random. It's Padres. It's Mets and
so
Padres.
it's like a fake reality show where Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder, I think, are the couple who are trying to have a baby, like find a house and have a baby, but they keep going to like cursed properties.
Oh,
Like there's some paranormal thing. It's like a ghost hunter reality, like Property Bros kind of thing. I don't know exactly what it is,
interesting.
but it sounds crazy. And with the Safdie Bros behind directing it, and behind the scenes, and then Nathan Fielder writing and putting his like surreal, like The Rehearsal. I've watched that first episode of The Rehearsal like 5 times this year.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and the show is fantastic. So like bringing that sort of like super offbeat but mixing reality and fiction writing into like the Safdie Bros world is super interesting. And Emma Stone, who I didn't really like earlier on in her career, has kind of taken a lot of interesting roles as of late, and I'm kind of turning the other page on her career. Maybe I think
It's
she's
so
becoming pretty interesting.
With Fielder, any year in review show I listen to, there's the people that didn't watch that show and the people that did. And the people that did,
and
every time it's number one. Every single list.
and the people that didn't watch
watched
were
it,
wrong.
it's number one.
Yeah.
So
If you didn't watch it, you were wrong, and you
my
needed to
number
watch
one.
it. And you still can. It's not like 2022 is over and you can't watch The Rehearsal.
Well, with
That'd be
HBO shows, you
hilarious.
never know. With HBO shows, you never know. They could be gone. They could just try to pull it.
Watch The Rehearsal. Exactly. Yeah. So watch it now, so you can be in the know for the rest of your life.
My number one this year on a very special episode.
Clone
20
High.
years. We've been waiting 20 years to find out what happened to that cooler.
I will believe it. I toyed with it on my list, and it would always be number one on my list. I just need to have more. I need to have more details.
This is probably the one I'm getting burnt on that will not make it, to make it 2 years in a row where I have a number one that doesn't make it. But they had that stuff on Twitter and everything like that. They said it was coming out in 2023. We'll see. I probably will get burnt on it, but I couldn't. My heart stayed too strong on it, and it's been 20 years. I mean, Clone High is probably the reason this podcast, one of the reasons this podcast exists. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about this show? It was way ahead of its time as far as quotability, memeability. It's all of a sudden gotten a big TikTok level of fame. Like, it's memed a lot on TikTok, which I didn't realize until I started to have to use TikTok more for work and stuff like that. I see so many Clone High memes on there. So it's definitely caught into a different generation. And it's because on YouTube right now, someone just put the whole block 4 hours of Clone High on YouTube that you can just watch successively. So it's really easy to watch Clone High and for free. And I think, I mean, the cast is good. I mean, the Gandhi question, Devan and I talked about it when the tweet came out about them uncooling people in the freezer. So that'll be a big question of what they do with Gandhi. But man, it's going to be, that's why I said this could be a huge year for Lord and Miller. Getting Spider-Verse, and that's going to probably kill it, and then getting to have Clone High back, which is their original baby, and really kind of got them off the ground.
What if it's like a full new series of clones, and it's not?
Yeah, that's
like, it doesn't need to be JFK and
they've
Joan of Arc
teased JFK and
Gandhi.
Abe already. They've already teased both of them. But I am cool with a
'Cause
whole new set of stuff.
They could have gone like a full like. There's so many figures that you could use.
Oh, I think
for
we'll get
this,
different
right?
guys. I mean, Devin and I talk. I'm not going to be shocked if there's a Trump clone. I'm not going to be shocked.
Trump? No, because he's
No.
alive. That would be
No.
it'd be too
They'll
on the
do it
nose.
for the.
And
They'll do it for the jokes.
I don't think so.
No,
They might do like a Nixon.
Or like a
Maybe
Reagan.
Nixon.
Nixon
Yeah.
Reagan.
Might do the Queen. Maybe they add that at the last second.
Tons of stuff, right? Like there's
Yeah.
so many people that have unfortunately passed away the last year or two.
Yeah.
That
You get a Barbara
Who would be
Walters
like
for
the-
now.
It would be
Sorry?
like a baby
Yeah,
in this world, right? Like somebody that died like last year would be like a newborn.
yeah. So
in
Betty
Clone
White
High.
baby, Betty White baby.
Yeah.
Barbara
I don't know
Walters
if Betty
baby?
White. I don't know if Betty White is like. Yeah, Barbara Walters would be interesting. She's like the school
Yeah.
newspaper reporter and just asks weird
Yeah.
questions that make people feel bad.
Yeah. So there we are. All right, Adam, you had some honorable mentions. I have some honorable mentions. Devin has honorable mentions, but I'll let you go first.
Just a whole bunch of movies that are coming out this year.
Cool.
There's this one called Renfield where Nicolas Cage plays Dracula, which is going to be amazing.
Right in your
What?
Yep. Hunter Schafer from Euphoria has their first leading role in this movie called Cuckoo, which is pretty cool. Maxine almost made my list. Ty West's trilogy
Yeah,
of
baby.
X and Pearl, and now Maxine. A film called Megalopolis.
Yo, the cast is so good. You
It's
see the cast?
I mean, because it's Francis Ford Coppola.
damn, that
and he hasn't
read
made
that cast
he
out.
hasn't made
Adam.
he hasn't. I don't have it up. He hasn't made
it's
a real movie. He hasn't made a real movie in at least 10 years. It's been like 10 years since he did Twixt, which was like kind of a real movie, but not. Yeah, it's Aubrey Plaza, it's Adam Driver, it's Shia LaBeouf, it's John Voight, Jason Schwartzman, Giancarlo Esposito, Dustin Hoffman, Forrest Whitaker, Lawrence
Hoffman hasn't done anything
Fishburne.
forever.
Talia
That's all I
Shire,
see on here.
Talia Shire, Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah, it's good.
Catherine Hunter, James Raymar, Chloe Feynman, DB Sweeney, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, Chloe Feynman, by the way,
Yeah, crazy.
is starting to get some. If you remember, Devin, we did our SNL when I talked about SNL this year, and I'm looking for a star, and I mentioned Chloe Feynman to you. She is like the unsung star of SNL right now. They're trying to make it Bowen Yang, and Bowen did good in Fire Island last year, I thought, and he was in Bros as well. But so they gave him all the gay movies. I hope that he can get it. Like, yeah, he is a gay man, but he doesn't have to be cliched into those roles. He's really talented. But Chloe Feynman is someone that's super talented too, and she was in White Noise, and now she's in this as well. So I'm glad that people are starting to see her talent and put her into things.
So yeah, Coppola just coming back after.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find what his last. He honestly hasn't directed a movie in 2011 was his last movie, and
I had a
that
Mandela
wasn't
effect
even
with him.
a big movie.
I thought he passed. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he passed until I saw it because I was watching
wow.
White Noise and I went to What's Adam Driver in next and I saw that cast. I'm like, not gonna lie, I thought Francis Ford Coppola passed away. So I was very relieved. Like, sweet, he's alive and he's gonna make this boss ass movie.
What his last big The Rainmaker in 1997.
Yeah, it's been
The rest of his movies have been pretty low, but lower budget. This one has $100 million budget, so I think it'll be pretty big. Just a couple more. Terrence Malick has a new movie. If you know who Terrence Malick is,
Of course,
he's a master filmmaker. The Way of the Wind. Beau is Afraid, Ari Aster's third movie coming out, and we kind of have this thing with horror directors where it's you got to make a third one to be a top level. Jordan Peele was that guy after he did Us. It was you got to make one more, otherwise you're nobody. And it's Ari Aster is in that world right now. And this one has Joaquin Phoenix. We got Scream 6. We got Saw 10.
I thought you'd have Scream on there.
No, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I like them, but they're
in
not
New York.
top 10.
It's gonna be kind of bad.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. It's in New York.
Yeah, it should be
no
good.
Nev. Rightfully Nev is out because they didn't pay her the right kind of money. But Jenna Ortega's in there, who is both you and I.
They had a little teaser trailer for it.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. And Saw 10 which is cool but not
Yes.
cool at the same time because now the last Saw movie is now canon apparently when they said it wasn't going to be because it was
Which one? The Chris
terrible.
Rock one?
Yeah,
Oh
Spiral.
God.
I thought Spiral
It's
was
be-
always canon.
no, it
No,
wasn't. And
wasn't supposed to
then,
be.
but now they call this one Saw X, which is Saw 10,
Yeah.
which means that one has to be canon.
Well, it might be like the iPhone. They just skipped iPhone 9.
Maybe. I don't know. And then Kristen Stewart is directing her first movie this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, The Chronology of Water. So that
Nice.
sounds pretty interesting too.
I had honorable mention. I had a few on here. Obviously, the Marvels, the Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel show, I think could be interesting, but we haven't seen enough. I really loved Miss Marvel last year. I'm actually more excited to see Kamala Khan again than I am to see Captain Marvel, to be honest. Ant-Man Quantumania, Paul Rudd, so that should be cool. But again, like my anticipation for Marvel stuff is saying quite a bit. Guardians is probably the movie that I'm the most excited for, and it's James Gunn's swan song to Marvel before he leaves to take over DC. This was so close to making it was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. That was like 13, 12 on the list. The last Mission Impossible just took this giant leap to another level, and you feel this anticipation with Cruise right now. With everything just happened with Top Gun, people just want to see Tom Cruise do crazy ass shit. He just had that video talking about announcing Top Gun, going to Paramount and doing another just crazy ass dive out of a plane as he talked about the box office. So I'm really excited for that. Little Mermaid, really excited for that. Hopefully I get to take my niece to that and get the live action of that. Hopefully it's better than Pinocchio, the last live action one that came out. You guys don't give a shit about this, but it's a franchise I get to go to with my dad. So Fast X. Gal Gadot is somehow alive, even though she blew up in a car. So she'll be back in this. So I'm excited to see how they bring Gal Gadot back to life.
Is she
Is
gonna
The
be
Rock
like
still in it?
Rock's not in
Is
it.
The Rock still in it?
No.
Is she gonna be like a cyborg with like a metal eye and stuff? That'd be kind of cool.
I have no idea.
They've already gone to space, so what difference does it make?
They got Jason Momoa in this one too.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
So I've
Roman
used this
Reigns
analogy.
bust.
I've used this analogy before, but did the Expendables walk so that Fast and Furious could run?
Fast was first.
At this point, I think.
No, I know
Fast,
it is, but
I think Fast and Furious took Expendables into that era.
Well, I
they
have to
took
see
the
where
formula.
because Fast 5 is by far the best one, and that's kind of around that area. Few other ones here really quickly. Knock at the Cabin, which is an M. Night Shyamalan movie with Dave Bautista and Rupert Grint in it, and it looks interesting. It's like the first
What
Shyamalan
a twist!
Movie. Yeah, it's the first Shyamalan movie that I've seen. I'm like, that actually intrigues me. Although The Island intrigued me as well, I guess, and then that turned out to be dog shit. So who knows?
Every other Shyamalan movie is good though, so this one has a chance, right?
Transformers: Rise of the Beast. It's not Michael Bay part of it, and Beast Wars was fucking amazing. So I'm really excited to see this one in the theater. That's gonna be badass. The Turtle movie that's made by Seth Rogen. It probably would have made my list, but I don't know for sure if it's coming out. Same with the Darkwing Duck property by Seth Rogen. If I knew those properties were coming out this year, they 100% would have both made my list.
Rise of the Beast is on my honorable mention.
One that's coming out like this week that I'm interested is this Megan, which looks both like it's going to be like terribly good, if that makes any sense, Adam.
It's James Wan, right? The guy that did some Saw films, and then last year or the year before he did Malignant, which was like a real cult horror sleeper with like a batshit crazy final act. And like, if you know me, I watch a lot of batshit crazy stuff, and when I say they like kind of jump the shark on this, it's wild. So yeah, Megan is like, it's like an AI doll that is like it's supposed to be like a friend, like a Chucky kind of thing, but it's an AI little girl doll.
And she dances.
And she dances and is friends, but then obviously starts killing people when they don't like the owner. But it's like, it's so creepy because it's half robot. Like I think in the production, it looks like half robot, but then half a little girl with like a creepy mask on.
Yeah.
And so it's like this weird mix. It looks really good. I'm interested in that.
Napoleon, the Ridley Scott film, Joaquin Phoenix will be playing Napoleon in it. So someone that's, big into history and those type of things, like watching The Crown and stuff like that. That'll be interesting to see him. So that'll be the biggest Oscar bait that I at least know at this point. Creed 3 looks really fun. Jonathan Majors is due for a big year. Next Goal Wins, which is the next Taika Waititi movie and has a really stellar cast of Fassbender, Elizabeth Moss. Of course, Rifus Darby is part of it, because that seems like him and Taika are and everything. Elizabeth Moss, like I said, is part of that as well. Our Flag Means Death, season 2. Really excited for that as well. And then TV shows, few here. Poker Face, which is the Ryan Johnson show. That
Right, I saw that.
has Natasha Lyonne part of that. That's kind of why she had the cameo in Glass Onion. I guess a minor spoiler there, but movie's been out for 2 weeks now. So
Oh yeah, she did have a cameo in that.
I mentioned Shrinking, which just randomly dropped a trailer before Mystic Quest one night and showed Jason Segel, and at the end Harrison Ford walks out. I'm like, what the fuck? Harrison Ford's in this random show.
Needs rent money.
Be really interesting. Yeah. I guess Severance, if that comes back, we don't know for sure yet, right? So there's shows like that I don't know, like, is Severance coming back or not? Gen V, which is the kind of the high school prequel in the mix of The Boys. I don't really know if that's where that's going. So yeah. And I had the adult Velma show on there as well.
One more show. Is Yellow Jackets season 2.
And Yellow Jackets as well.
It's not top 10, but I'm interested.
Yeah, and
that's pretty soon. I think that's coming out like spring,
March.
Like it's
we're
pretty.
Gonna get Yellow Jacket. We're gonna get a yellow. I mean, for
new.
this pod, Yellow Jackets, Mando, and Succession all at the same time.
Damn.
Maybe Secret Invasion in there as well. We'll see. Dev, do you have any honorable mentions we missed out on?
Yeah, I'll just give you my list quickly. I had Indy 5, Mario, Hogwarts.
Oh, the game,
the video game. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see if they're able to do like a whole open world RPG action game with this, with all the spells and the houses, and just, you know, make it open up to everybody multiplayer wise. Like that could just be such a moneymaker. The J.K. Rowling stuff notwithstanding, she's kind of a piece of shit. Is a piece of shit.
Kind of like would it be kind of like the Ghostbusters, like the most recent Ghostbusters game? What was that one?
Well, they did like a 3. They did like the game that was like supposed to be Ghostbusters 3, and they brought like some voice actors.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Where I played it, and it's like a third person, and you're like shooting. Like that one was fun. That was cool.
Supposed to be a Ghostbusters sequel this year too, but there was no concrete evidence of that. I'm surprised both of you didn't do How Do You Live?
What's that?
The the Hayao Miyazaki film.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's coming out.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, because like those.
Yeah.
To do that takes like 4 or 5 years of it straight.
And Adam, no Cocaine Bear for you, which I'm shocked at.
Yeah, it's on. It's like I think I got a little lost. Like I saw when I went to see Violent Night a couple weeks ago, I saw the second trailer for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it kind of like lost me.
Wonder if it can get past the concept of the name.
Like the first trailer was great. It was just like this bear doing crazy shit. And then it's like this little bit of the story, but now you're getting a bit more of the story, and I don't want any of it. And I don't want like funny characters.
Yeah.
Really. And it feels like too much, like it's gonna be like cameo, eaten by the bear. Like, I don't know. It feels too jokey. When it is a full jokey movie.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
I don't know. It just feels like not what I want. Exactly. I want like a 70s like bear exploitation movie, right? With some funny, some comedy, but like I want bear kills.
I had a couple other ones. I had the sequel to Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Nice. Yeah, that looks good.
And then I had Spider-Man 2.
See, I don't believe it's coming out.
Yeah.
So I stayed away from it. I don't believe it. Don't believe it. No trailer at this point. I don't believe it.
Yeah. It's just an honorable mention. Like if it comes out, great. If it doesn't, then I don't care.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I had gaming stuff too. I had Tears of Kingdom. Was honorable mention. The Zelda game, Starfield, which looks really, really cool and ambitious, but I feel like we've been down this road before. Street Fighter 6 looks really cool. Alan Wake, which is getting a sequel. Res 4 remake looks really cool, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League looks really cool, and apparently Dead Island 2 is finally coming out, which I don't believe either.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'll believe that when I see
Do you like that game?
I didn't mind it. I remember Jay and I, when the trailers, you talk about a trailer really
Yeah.
getting your attention for a game, Dead Island really did that. So Jermaine and I, we went in it together and we played it. We're like, this is kind of shitty, but kind of fun. Like I was like very in between on it. I think
I
most
played the whole
memorable
thing.
Yeah.
I just hate games where your weapons just break and then you don't have any weapons or bullets. But there was a glitch in this game that if you had a really good weapon, you could like throw weapons, right? And if you threw a weapon and then paused it before you like it hit the ground, you could like duplicate the weapon. And that was the only way I played through this game.
Was a lot of paddles got thrown in the air by me.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun, but I just without that, I don't know if I would have liked it. Just couldn't handle it.
2 sports ones. Women's World Cup should be exciting, specifically because Canada is a favorite in it. So that'll be very exciting. I heard a lot of people like, oh, the World Cup is done. I was like, no, it's not. We got the Women's World Cup and Canada's a favorite in it. For all those people that got so excited for Canada, we got an Olympic gold medalist team that has a chance to win their first World Cup this year. And then for just personal around this area, Calgary having a professional basketball team and getting the chance to go and take those in, that should be rather exciting as well.
There you
Go
go.
Surge. They just released their ticket prices. They're not too bad.
Nice. So this is the last question, then we'll get out of here. Give me off the top of your head, I'll let you go first, Adam, your top 5,
Okay.
1 to 5 accurately for the box office this year, I guess now.
Oh my God. I
Who
was
do you
just
think
looking at this thing.
Who is winning the box office overall?
Oh my God. It's it's Spider-Man or Guardians or it's Mario.
Don't have Mission Impossible up there?
No. I'm gonna go Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Number
Spider-Man.
1 overall.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that a big, I don't know. It's a big thing. Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, Mario. Then what? Indiana Jones could do numbers.
Yep.
And then Dungeons and Dragons, just for fun.
It could. I mean, that's either going to be a big flop or do good.
Oh boy.
It's not going to do good.
Dev, what do you have?
I mean, never underestimate Christopher Nolan, first of all.
This is true.
Oppenheimer could be something.
Nah.
The way that you've been talking about it, it makes it sound like you're anticipating Mario being number 1. The Exorcist will be big too as well.
I think Mission Impossible is going to be number 1.
I don't think it has that Top Gun. I don't think it has that Top Gun run in it.
The last one is
Avatar 3 coming out this year?
No, 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'm gonna say Mario's number 1.
Okay, I'll go Mario 1 because I've been beating that dream, but I got Mario 1, I've got Mission Impossible number 2, got Guardians 3, I've got Indy 5 and Spider-Man 5, and Barbie looking in on the outside. I think Barbie's going to do numbers like Adam was talking about. You don't think so?
Barbie's not going to do that.
By the way,
it'll do well for what it is, but it's not doing
year?
blockbuster numbers.
That's a thing that's happening this year?
No.
Gremlins 3?
There's a Gremlins TV show.
By Christopher
There's
Columbus?
an animated I don't think it's this. Maybe that's new, but it won't come this year. Gremlins, There's a Gremlins TV show coming.
Dune might do numbers too. Dune might do numbers too.
Yeah, Dune's going to. I think we got to keep it simple, like franchise.
It's not going to do that big.
Is Ant-Man, but is Ant-Man traditionally as lucrative as Guardians will be? No, Guardians need to make more money.
I would
but
say
they're pitching it. They're pitching it as that like crossover one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say it would probably go Guardians, Ant-Man, Marvels would be my best guess for the Marvel films. And Flash is something.
Flash, yeah, that's a dark horse.
Yeah, I
There's
just
an
wonder.
Aquaman.
There's an Aquaman
Yeah, there's
movie too. That movie
Aquaman.
made $1 billion.
Yeah,
It
there's
made
an
$1 billion.
Aquaman
I wonder if people's level and Shazam's out as well. I didn't mention any of the 3 DC and Blue Beetles. There's 4 DC movies this year, and I guess there's the Penguin TV show as well, which is probably the most anticipated.
There's one more that
And
nobody talked about.
Peacemaker as well.
Timothy Chalamet
Oh,
Wonka.
playing
Yeah.
Charlie.
Oh,
playing Willy Wonka.
Transformers. Put Transformers in that 5.
Yeah,
Transformers will do good.
Transformers.
That will do good. Yeah, that'll do very good. That'll probably make a bill. Little Mermaid could be surprising too.
There's gonna be some like weird kids movie that just like the DC Super Pets 2 is just gonna break
Elements.
$1 billion.
Element, for example. Elements, the new Pixar movie that's kind of hitting that inside out.
Pixar original properties haven't been doing well. Soul,
yeah. I wonder if
they're done. They're done, man.
Well, Soul went right to the.
They're still good movies.
Yeah.
But like Soul is a great movie, but it didn't do so hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the pandemic, maybe.
Okay, well, just off your top of the head, then before we wrap up here, gun to your head, who do you think wins the box office next year, Adam? Number 1 overall box office.
Mario. Let's go Mario.
Devan?
Is it Mario or Mario?
I've said both before.
Is it Mario or Mario? Would you say Mario?
Because it's Wario.
Or is it Wario?
Or is it Wario?
It's not Wario.
I've said
it's never Wario.
I've said Wario.
It's not Wario.
Sure?
I mean, he says it's to me Mario, not Mario.
Yeah, Mario.
I
think Mario's the
but it's not Wario.
American.
It's Wario.
Whatever. Why are we arguing with this?
So Devin, we're all going to say Mario
Good
then.
Content.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Let's see how bad our lists are at the end of next year. And until next. Oh, and I mean, of course, we're the most anticipated about seeing you all at Comic Expo again this year. We've already got plans for stuff that we're going to do for the movie draft. Excited to see you at SIF. And of course, seeing you at another sneaker expo this year. So until next time, everyone, cheers.